Hello, my name is H.A. Pruitt, and I'm the author of the Anathalian series, and in this video I'm going to do a book review of a series. Before I do the review, I want to say it's so important to review books. When you read a book, please review the book, because it helps authors learn what readers think of their books, how to improve their writing, and it spreads the word about books just through the algorithm. More reviews equals it shows it to more people. So, the trilogy I'm going to review... Please give that back, okay? That's his toy. I'm sorry, both my kids are awake right now. We'll get through this. Okay, the trilogy I'm going to review is the Gateway Trilogy by Crystal D. Grant. It has Shadowcast, Lightshed, and Darkend in that order. Here's your little car. Boom, boom. So I'm only going to fully review the first book because it has, the second and third book have major spoilers for the first book, so if you haven't read it, don't even read the synopsis for the second and third one yet. But I'm just going to say you should read the whole series. It is so good. I usually don't finish a series. I absolutely had to finish this series. It is so good. You should read them all. I will briefly talk about the Hey, we're not going to hit. We're not going to hurt. I will briefly talk about the second and third one, but I'm not going to go in depth for those. But just know, a lot of my points about the first one that I like so much are throughout this series, and they grow. So I'll get there. So the Gateway Trilogy is medieval Christian epic fantasy, and it has romance in it. Pretty strong theme of romance, but it's not the main thing. So medieval Christian epic fantasy, it has so much action, so much like battles and fighting and action, themes of redemption, themes of light versus darkness. Themes of light versus darkness. It is definitely Christian fiction, but it's so good in the way that it is so interwoven into the people, into the story, that it's part of the story, and it's so good. Not at all cheesy or preachy or anything like that. It is just life with God playing out, and it's so cool with realistic people. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The audience, I say, would be adults simply because the characters are adults. I think Mason and Seria, who are the main characters. Well, Mason, Eric, and Seria are the main characters. Mason and Seria are like 20s, and Eric is like 30s, and then you have some old... Oh, my rooster is attacking my mother outside. So, I don't know what I was saying, but it's adult because the characters are adults. I would be okay with teenagers reading this book. There's nothing in there that's not appropriate, but just, its main characters are adults, so I would say it's adult. And there's lots of fight, but it's never gory in a way. Lots of describing like the movements, but never the gore. There are some difficult topics, but never too difficult. Like people die because it's a war. Okay, I'm going to get to my summary of Shadowcast. Shadowcast is the first book in the series. The Shadowcast summary, my summary. Mason hopes to avenge the death of his brother by obtaining a Shadowstone and defeating the stewards and their prince, Prince Eric Passion. After being wounded in a critical battle, though, Mason's injuries force him to stay with a healer who is a steward's sympathizer, and that annoys him. When his wounds finally heal, the healer may have changed him enough to frustrate his goal of revenge. And a lot more happens. So much happens in these books. But the healer is Seria. So basically, Mason is on the dark side, Seria's on the light side, and Mason gets hurt, and she doesn't know it because he's disguised as a steward, one of the light side. And so she takes him in, and she's like, "Oh, you're a steward," and she talks a lot. She's like, "Da-da-da," and she's so like happy and sunshine, and he's like, "Oh, I hate you so much." And it's super funny, the grumpy sunshine dynamic. But eventually, like, she heals him and she takes care of him and she looks out for him and they become friends. And so you can imagine and she like tells him about the Lambient, who is God, and all this stuff. And so he like starts having a lot of thoughts and questions and like, she's my friend, but I'm not on her side, but I'm on her side, but I'm not on the side that she's on. And so it creates this whole dilemma of thoughts and ideas and where he wants to be in life and where he wants to go and what he's doing. He's serving the Dark Army, but his best friend now is in the Light Army, and she's showing him so much and giving him so much light and hope and life that he's not getting from this dark side that's supposed to give him so much life and hope, but it hasn't given him any of that. So There's so much going on in this book, and it's so good. I was telling my husband about it last night, and it took like 10 minutes to just explain a little bit. But it's so good. But I don't want to tell you too much also. Okay, so my positives about this book. When the narrator said the end, I yelled at my phone, because I listened to the audiobook for the first one by Magnus Carlsen, who has a very strong British accent. It makes all the men sound manly. When it ended, I was like, no, you can't end like that, because it ends on a cliffhanger, and the second one ends on cliffhanger, and I love that. I had to have the second one. I went and bought the second one on my Kindle so I could start reading it immediately. I love Seria's donkey, Sanjo. He's cute. He's a cute little old donkey, animal companion. Mason was all like, that dumb donkey, and that annoyed him. So the romance was a side romance and greatly affected the plot. But because it wasn't the only plot, and it was based on complementing personalities, and it was like enemy to wow, I actually need you. It was Grumpy and Sunshine, and it was never spicy or lusty, and it felt realistic. I enjoyed this romance between Seria and Mason, this developing friendship turning into a romance. They're just good for each other, and I really love that it was a side thing, but it was also necessary for the plot and everything I already said. Okay, so next, I love that Mason, the Shadow Man who wants vengeance against the stewards, and Prince Eric, the Grand Marshal of the stewards, each had unique struggles. Hey, we're not gonna hurt. Sorry. Yet Eric and Mason were interwoven. They were each living their own life, but they were very interwoven. And I can't really tell you how. Mason's story taught about wanting vengeance and how it steals your joy and steals your life and everything good. And then Eric's story taught that living in fear of making the wrong choice is going to stop you from living and doing what is right. And that was just the first book. They developed through each book. They grew more and more and more, and their problems and the lessons you learned from them changed, and lessons they learned changed and developed. It was just very good how they kept developing and developing, but kind of kept that difficulty, that one thing they struggled with, and it like developed and changed, but it was still like that one thing. The characters were so consistent through the whole series, and that was fantastic. They felt like the same people. I didn't even have to think like these are characters. Like these are people, and nothing about anything in the books made me think like, oh, well, that doesn't seem like that person. So consistent, so good. Continued struggling, great, like, growth. And Seria glued all the stories together. Can't tell you how exactly, but Seria showed that no matter what life deals out to you, you do have a choice to choose what is right and what is wrong through the whole series. She was that point in Mason's life that kept telling him, you have a choice. You don't have to be a dark man. You can choose something different. You don't have to just do this. You can choose something different. So that was really awesome. My next positive, the giftings were really cool and added a lot to the plot. Like, Mason was a reader, so he could, like, make eye contact with somebody and, like, read their mind. Eric could, like, move big things just, like, by looking at them. Move things. Different giftings like that. Different people had them, but not everybody had them. So they, like, mixed it up and made battles especially cool. Like, Bruin Pralis, the commander of the Dark Army, he could control the weather. So, like, he makes it snowstorm. And everybody's cold. Please stop hanging on to me, okay? Next positive. I became invested in the characters because their problems, flaws, fears, and hopes were so relatable. They were all well developed into complex people who felt real. And as the book series went on, we brought more characters into the spotlight, like Captain Brayley and Captain Dudley and, not Liam. Liam's an important character, but he's not in the book. Kind of. Whatever. I don't need to ruin it for you. Lionel is the one I'm trying to think of. And Sean, and more characters were brought into the plot. Hey, sir, please stop. I'm not going to ask you again. Please stop. And they were all complex people who felt real. So next positive, the characters made some wrong decisions, and that's a positive for me because it's so relatable, but it gives you hope of redemption after sin. That made the cliffhanger so good in the first book in Shadowcast. And the action was exciting through the whole series. It had plenty of action, of battles, of clashes, of what's going to happen next, who's going to die, who's not going to make it, who's going to get captured, who's going to get out alive, who's going to do this, who's going to get, like, tortured to death. So much action. It it was a romance, but it was also an action book where dudes are fighting with swords and it's cool. Okay, so I only had a few negatives, and these are pretty specific to Shadowcast. My first one, kind of through the whole book, I wish the main male characters were described more. I don't recall getting a visual of Mason at all, and I didn't know Eric was blonde until halfway through the book. Audiobooks, sometimes I miss things, so it may have been there and I just didn't hear it, but, the chaos behind me, I'm sorry. But I didn't know what they looked like. And I know a lot of romance books overemphasize looks, but, like, I want to know what hair color they have, and I want to know, like, what eye color they have, and if their hair's, like, long or short. I need some kind of visual. Hey, we're gonna stop hurting, okay? I need some kind of visual or I can't visualize. And I naturally think everybody's hair is brown because my hair is brown. And so when Eric was blonde, I was like, okay, I guess we can have him be blonde. But Seria was well described because Mason was starting to think she was kind of pretty, and so, like, I knew she was blonde and had green eyes. We're not gonna hurt. We're not gonna hurt. We're gonna get through this. So, I did wish that more descriptions were in the book so I knew what people looked like. And Captain Brayley, I didn't realize he had dark skin until the third book. And that was only because on Instagram I saw character art. And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't know what they looked like. And a specific one to the first book. The narrator did really amazing with the male voices. With the distinction of male voices, with the emotion, the pacing, the clarity, and keeping my attention overall. But his voice sounded really mature. And so Mason and Eric sounded like they were 40 or 50 years old. And that kind of confused me, especially because I didn't know what they looked like, and so I didn't know their age. So I was like, are they older? Are they younger? I don't really know. Until, like, it was explained, for Mason at the least, that he was around his 20s. And the female voices, this guy was amazing with the male voices. You're okay. I'm so sorry. Come here. The male voices were amazing. But the female voices, like, why is everybody Southern, okay? The girls were like, my name is Seria, and I live in a house. And I'm like, what in the world? The female voices were pretty bad. But thankfully, I read the second and third book visually, so that got it out of my head. And, like, they sounded so cringy to me. I was like, oh, I can't even stand Seria. But they got better because I read the book visually. So there's that. That was a negative for me. And I love this series so much. So I really enjoyed the book, and something I didn't emphasize very much was, like, the Christian themes and redemption and light versus darkness. But, like, that is so present in the book, and it's so strong. It's just there, and it's so beautiful and so strong. And, like, every book had so many good messages, and it's just hard to condense it all into one review. But, I mean, it's amazing. If you're going through anything as a human in life, this book probably is going to speak to you and help you. And they're, like, it's so good. It's so good on a Christian level. It's so good on an action level, on romance level, on real character level. I mean, there's so many good things about this series. The only not good thing I have to say about it is the narrator sounded weird when he did female voices, you know? So I don't know if I'm going to get to do Lightshed and Darkend, but they were so good, okay? Just believe me, they were so good. And I'm going to put my reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, so you can read them without screaming children. But yes, that is my review of the Gateway Trilogy by Crystal D. Grant. Just go read it. Like, please just go read it. If this review didn't convince you, just go read it for yourself, and that will convince you that you should read this book, and it was a good decision to read the book. So thank you for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share. Please. Thank you for watching. Bye. If you want to know more about Anna Thalian or H.A. Pruitt, please follow me on Instagram at H.A. Pruitt. You can find me on Amazon as an Amazon author, H.A. Pruitt. Please watch my YouTube channel and all my cool videos on my channel, H.A. Pruitt Anna Thalian. You can find me on the Facebook page, H.A. Pruitt Anna Thalian. You can follow me on Goodreads by the name H.A. Pruitt and the book Anna Thalion, or you can go to my website where so much cool stuff about Anna Thalion is. The website is hapruitt.com.